Madam Clerk. The next item on our agenda is item number 8, Senate Bill 316, an act protecting Connecticut workers, LCO number 2246. This is a straight JF to the floor. I'll take a motion.
Moved by Rep. Porter.
And a second?
Seconded, Rep. Hughes.
Thank you. This is, as has been noted when we raised this bill, this is what's considered a placeholder bill. I know some people have voiced objections to this previous meetings, but this is a part of how we are able to conduct legislative business as the session gets close to the end, things get tight. It gives us the opportunity to put together that are germane to the title. And so I look forward to my colleagues supporting this legislative practice that works well for folks, regardless of which party you might belong to, but has worked historically well in our legislature. So with that, I will entertain Senator Sampson.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. That's a debatable statement, whether or not it benefits the minority. I would say that rarely, if ever, the minority benefits from a placeholder bill. But I suppose there can be a situation where it might resolve some dispute. But usually that dispute could be resolved in other ways, like amending the original bill or terminating its existence. But let me just say that I do take exception to the bill before us. If you read through the very short paragraph, it encompasses every conceivable topic that this committee could ever address. And my objection to this type of legislation is simply that it flies in the face of having a legislative process at all. I mean, if this is the way we're going to do bills, then why bother? I mean, why bother having a public hearing? Why bother having a committee meeting? It defeats that purpose. Our job here as representatives of our constituents is to hear from the public on proposed legislation, and that legislation should be in relatively complete form when that happens. It shouldn't even be conceptual. It should be what bill we're trying to make into law so that the public can say, that's a good idea or bad idea. We don't even have the beginning of that in this particular proposed bill. There's nothing there. It just says we can bring up anything we want and stuff it in there at any point in the process when we feel like it. And that's wrong, Madam Chairman. It's just not the way we should do things. The public does not get to comment on that legislation in any format when that happens, because it will have skipped the public hearing process. And our duty here today in this committee meeting right now is to get these bills right. It is to discuss the merits of each piece of legislation, debate potential amendments, changes to those policies, so that we can have a finished product when it leaves this committee. One of my most sincere concerns about the way our majority has handled this legislature over the last 12 years that I have been here is the lack of concern for trying to get bills correct out of committee. I often joke to my colleagues that we just pass titles anyway, because it seems to me the titles are written in a way so that we can go ahead and strike all of the language on the House or Senate floor and replace it with whatever the majority chooses. That is disrespectful to the minority. It's disrespectful to the members of the majority that serve on these various committees. And it's also extremely disrespectful to the process and the people of the state who elected us to do our job properly. The constant reiteration of, well, this is how we do it, and this solves problems later. This legislature meets every year. And in fact, we meet in special session virtually every year too. We can solve problems, and there is no such problem that is so great that we could not find time to do it next year. And if it's a true emergency, we have a process for that too. Another process which is abused on a regular basis, the emergency certification process, but that's another debate for another day. I encourage my colleagues to make a statement here and say, this is wrong. We should be putting policy before our constituents that they can actually have a say on in a proper public hearing, and we should debate the merits of policy in the committee and fix bills before they leave here, not create some catch-all thing that is intended on its face for the purpose of being replaced with language that will not get either one of those benefits. Thank you, Madam Chairman.